Alright, what is going on, you lovely ladies and gentlemen of the world? I hope you will allow me the license to rant a little bit. I don't have nothing serious to talk about. I don't have any overarching point to make. I just want to bitch and moan about a bunch of stuff. I'll make sure to put like a table of contents down for all of you so that you can dodge any particular subject that you may not be interested in yourself. But, you know, I just want to bitch, so let me bitch. So first thing I want to bitch about, my weak ass body. Of course I knew. But today was the first day, basically since the pandemic started, a little bit before the pandemic started, that I went to the gym. So I knew, you know, I'm not going to go back in there and start hitting PRs, right? I'm not about to go in there and start breaking records. But I was at least hoping for a bit better than losing. Like, I lost 100 pounds off my 6-rep max deadlift. 2 full plates. Just, boop, gone. Can't even do it anymore. Also, the calluses on my hands that had existed, that were protecting me, that did not turn me into a little bubbling baby every time that I tried to grip the bar and it was trying to rip itself out of my hands and thus taking the skin with it, those left me too. So those are, my hands are having a good day. But still, man, like I'm scared to do leg day because after a while, after trying to do bodyweight exercises and discovering that I can't stand doing bodyweight exercises, it takes too many reps to get anywhere. So after doing that, I was like, all right, I bought some heavy resistance bands. I wanted to try to start building my own home gym, but everybody started trying to build their own home gym. So weights at the start of the pandemic were just borderline impossible to find, period. And even if you did find them, they were massively overpriced. So I eventually got some heavy resistance bands. But the thing is that, like, as heavy as these resistance bands could get, they couldn't get heavy enough to emulate, you know, like the numbers you would be putting out for a deadlift or like a leg press or, you know, like those things that you can generally go really heavy on. And so those are the lifts that I have definitely lost the most on. And what I'm really scared of is, you know, everybody got that meme, right? Never skip leg day. I never skipped leg day. I actually enjoy leg day. It's push day for me that I despise, and that if I ever skipped a workout, it was push day. But anyway, I could never find a good way to use the resistance bands to help out with any leg exercises. And so because of that, I am genuinely concerned. My leg day is going to be on Wednesday. You're hearing this, I should be posting this tomorrow, which today's Monday, so a day after you hear this, I should be doing leg day. And I may come home in a wheelchair. That could be a possibility. I'm genuinely concerned. Like, I may just be over there fucking 6'5", 250 pounds, squatting one single plate. Check out my 100-pound max squat. 1 rep. That'll be me over there in the corner. Anyway, but yeah, so I just wanted to rant about that a little bit. Hopefully I didn't go too long on. I did actually kind of go a little bit long on that. Let's talk about SNK and how I'm scared out of my damn mind for King of Fighters, right? The more trailers they release, the better the game is looking. Like, it still doesn't look, I mean, it's not anything that Arc System Works has put out in their engine recently, right? It's not comparable to that. It's not even really comparable to Tekken. It's not great. It's not even good. But at least it's no longer bad, right? Like, that's the problem. King of Fighters 14 was bad. Samurai Shodown was kind of bad, but the way they styled it made it not look bad, I think is the best way to describe it. But, so, like, that has, you know, is nice that now people aren't just going to look at it and be like, ugh, who's going to buy that garbage, right? Like, it's not just off-putting just to see the game in motion. But, number one, they keep making it a point to not commit to any kind of, like, definitive netcode that's guaranteed to be good. I mean, I shouldn't say guaranteed, because obviously we've seen bad rollback, right? Tekken has bad, like, that was the thing that everybody found out, like, wait, Tekken has rollback? Like, yeah, technically it does, but it's, like, the worst implementation of rollback you can put in, to the point where, like, it's not even worth calling rollback, right? Or we have Street Fighter V, which is just bad in general. And so, we know there's bad rollback, and then Guilty Gear Strive has come out, and, you know, anybody that's played classic games that have had GGPO implemented or utilized a GGPO system know that there's good versions of rollback, and the good versions of rollback are amazing, and game changing, quite literally. And so the fact that the SNK developers refuse to commit to paper that they're actually working hard on ensuring that they're going to A, be using rollback netcode, and B, be doing it right, is concerning. Because SNK is the last remaining big company that is committed to this trash-ass rollback. They have the worst netcode in fighting games. And so if KOF, I mean, as much as I like KOF, if 15 drops and it's got the same netcode as 14, the same netcode as Samurai Shodown, I'm not buying it. I'm not supporting it. And that's going to suck balls. And the reason why I'm concerned about that is because recently, SNK, when does this actually come out? Samurai Shodown on PC was an Epic Games exclusive for a year. Oh, it's coming out today. Or is it out today? It's actually out today. Interesting. I'm not buying it. And the reason why I'm not buying it is because they released it as a $50 game with none of the DLC included. Like, this game's what, 3 years old now? Like, when did this come out? Samurai Shodown 2019. So there you go. It's at least 2 years old. I don't know specifically when. I'm too lazy to go through all of Google to look through this, but it's at least 2 years old, right? Like, that's a bad look to be releasing a 2-year-old game with no improvements whatsoever to the game, none at all. It's just the exact same game you will find on console. It's the same game you would find on Epic Game Store for $50, and then all of the DLC. And each of the DLC characters is $4.79. It's kind of sort of on sale right now, but still, like, this is just one of the worst. This is going to flop. There is no fucking way that this is going to sell any decent amount. And honestly, it shouldn't. Like, you shouldn't support this. This is bullshit. This is like, they want. It's what. Like, one thing that irritates me right now about Guilty Gear Strive, right? Guilty Gear Strive is undeniably popping off. It's doing extremely well. Like, what is it? What are the players at, right? It peaked at like 30,000 concurrent players on its release, which is fucking amazing. It's currently sitting around 16K, which again is fucking amazing. And one of the big reasons for that is because, let's be real, Arc System Works got to have their cake and eat it too. I'll get into that in a bit. But so that's what SNK is trying to do with this release of Samurai Shodown. They got the Epic Games money, right? The exclusive money that they paid out, however much that amount is. And now, so they got their cake. Or they ate their cake. But now they want their cake too by releasing this at damn near full price with none of the DLC included on Steam 2 years late with no improvements. There's no reason to buy this game. It sucks playing this game online. Don't buy the fucking game. I don't care if you like it. I don't care. Don't buy it. Don't support it. Fuck SNK for doing this. And that's another reason why I am very concerned about the state of King of Fighters 15 and how it's going to be handled. Because this is just brain dead stupidity. So anyways, let's talk about Guilty Gear getting to have its cake and eat it too. There are a lot of people like me out there that are just like, yo, this isn't Guilty Gear, right? Regardless of how you feel about the game, regardless of whether you enjoy it or not, it's pretty undeniable that this is a regression and really doesn't much feel like Guilty Gear at all. But the majority of people that held that opinion, like me, that also are saying, I don't like this game, I don't enjoy this game, still went out and bought it. Like, the perfect example of this is Kizzy K. His fucking response to this entire thing was, you know what, I really don't like that I do not appreciate that they're clearly not listening to us, they're clearly not listening to the community that has been a part of Guilty Gear for years now, they don't care about our input, they don't care about me, so what I'm gonna do to show them how much I do not appreciate that fact is purchase the game and play it for a year and probably purchase any season passes that come out during that time. That'll fucking show them. Nope, that's why Guilty Gear Strive, that's why Arc System Works got their cake and they're eating it too. And they're probably stealing your cake as well. Like, I don't begrudge Guilty Gear for being successful, right? It's definitely more successful than I thought it would be. Like, again, 30,000 players day one? I would never have dreamed of that. Even if it was a good game, I never would have dreamed of that. So, kudos to them. What does concern me and what does agitate me is what that probably implies for the future of, at the very least, Arc System Works fighting games, if not fighting games as a whole. Like, any fighting game dev can look at this and be like, okay, the competitive community that continues to support our games hated this, but they still sold like hotcakes, and the competitive community that hated it still bought it. So, like, they're pissed, and they're all talking negatively, but they still bought it, and they're still playing it. So, why don't we just do the same shit and get the same benefits, right? Like, there's no negative lesson to be learned here. There is no, like, oh, damn, they really fucked up those lobbies. I'm sure it would have sold a lot better if they had managed to get those right. Nope. That clearly didn't impact the sales. The server problems that still plague the game, that certainly didn't impact the sales. Like, there is a lesson to be learned here, and it's not a good one if you are a fan of competitive fighting games. So, that's what worries me. That's what concerns me, and I am genuinely kind of concerned. And the other thing, too, is, like, the disingenuous reaction that I've seen a lot of people say, like, well, if you don't like it, just go play the other games. Guilty Gear XV is basically at a third of where it was, of how many players were playing it on average since the release of Strive. Accent Core, pretty much the same, around a third of the amount that it had prior to the release of Strive. Skullgirls is also, I mean, all the fighting games have lost a little bit. The only one that I think hasn't really been impacted is Mortal Kombat 11. And Tekken 7 is still trucking along, doing pretty. I don't think it has really been that impacted overall. But yeah, like, Street Fighter's numbers are definitely down. Dragon Ball Fighter's numbers are definitely down. But I think Tekken 7 and Mortal Kombat 11 are both pretty unaffected by all of this. But yeah, like, both of the Guilty Gear games that were being played by a pretty decent number of people have both just been shattered. And so yeah, like, obviously, I mean, that is the answer, right? Like, hey, you're not enjoying this, go play another game. Oh, I would love to. But if you can't find matches, you can't play the game. And so that's the thing too, right? Is you have to understand that it's more than just, oh, you don't like this, just go play that other thing. Because just because I may not enjoy this does not mean, so like, you're looking, let's just say there's like 500 people that were playing Plus R the day before Strive came out. There's gonna be a portion of those that may not enjoy Strive, but they want to partake in the new big thing, number one. Number two, they also want to have a game with the amazing netcode that Strive provides. And number three, they probably have friends as well that even if they're not particularly enjoying the game, their friends are, and they want to be a part of that as well. So they go buy the game, right? And there's definitely a snowball effect as well, where people that may have been holding out, that may have been like, I'm not going to buy it, they see how hard Strive is popping off, and they're like, okay, you know what, yeah, I'm going to be a part of that now. Like, I want in, let me in. So they go buy it too, and then that just, again, snowballs. But so you have a portion of that, right, where people just genuinely want to go play the new big thing. Then you have a portion that they're just going to play it for like a week and then they'll come back. And then you have a portion that sees the dwindling numbers, that sees that it's harder to find matches, and they just stop playing it because of that. And then that just compounds the issue and kind of just slowly pulls back the numbers over time as more and more people drop the game and matches naturally get harder and harder to find. And eventually that's kind of how you wind up with a quote-unquote Discord game, where you have to hop onto a Discord and ask for a match because otherwise nobody's sitting there playing looking for matches. It's just such an asshole move to just be like, well, if you don't like it, just go play XR, to go play Plus R. Like, it's not that fucking easy. Anyway, what else did I want to rant about? Oh, Oh, that's right, E3, man. I used to be excited. I mean, used to be is like probably a decade or more ago. But has it always been this, like, am I only just, is it just one of those things where it's like you notice it more because it's agitating you more over time, and like it's at the same level that it has always been, but you're just noticing it more now, where like every single trailer that is being released, that is being shown from E3, has zero gameplay. It's all just cinematics. That's it. Or like it's the quote-unquote fake gameplay, right? Where you have, it's like, we have chosen a selection of actors to play this game. Come watch them live. And it's the most obviously scripted garbage in the world because nobody talks the way that these people are communicating over comms, right? Just absolutely absurd. And so, it's one of those two things. And then you also have where it's like they're like, I still can't get over. Apparently, I think Shin Megami Tensei 5 has been announced that, let me just check this out. I think they've announced that it's supposed to come out by the end of this year, right? Like, haven't they said? I feel like I remember seeing it's supposed to come out in like September, maybe October, something like that. But we've barely seen anything about the game. Barely seen. Oh, a Japanese release date of November 11th. So, but we've again barely seen anything. Haven't even released. I don't think they showed off any gameplay. We just saw like some initial cinematic type of stuff. And so, like, in the time, that game got announced for the E3 announcement of the Nintendo Switch. When was that? Like 2015? I don't know why I just googled Nintendo Switch and not Nintendo Switch release date. Nintendo Switch released 8. March 3rd, 2017. So, that probably got announced, I mean, I shouldn't say probably, that got announced in 2016, and that's when Shin Megami Tensei 5 was also initially announced. 5 years prior. 5 years prior. Cthulhu, I know you're sitting there on the edge of your seat. I think, is Nintendo shit supposed to be today? I mean, obviously not today, given that I'm not releasing this on the same day that I'm recording it. But I think Nintendo's E3 is supposed to be today, the 14th. If not, it's tomorrow. But either way, like, you think they're going to have Metroid Prime 4 information? I don't. But they released the logo back in that same E3 as Shin Megami Tensei 5. Now, to be fair, that game we know got completely scrapped because apparently it was doing so poorly, it was testing so poorly that they were just like, yeah, we need to just go back to the drawing board. So at the very least, they have that excuse going for them, and for all we know, it could be scrapped entirely and Nintendo just doesn't want to admit to it. But you have situations like that everywhere. Where, like, so again, I was just bitching about how, like, so few trailers these days have actual gameplay behind them. And so, one of the only trailers that I have seen so far, to be fair, I haven't really been paying attention, but one of the only trailers that I've seen so far that has had actual showcasing of gameplay is for Ayuden Chronicle, the spiritual successor to the Suikoden series, which I supported on Kickstarter, that isn't coming out until 2023. And it's probably going to be pushed back, let's be real. With a JRPG with like that much content going into it, with with the aspirations the developers have for that game, it's probably going to be delayed as well. So like, why do we keep seeing trailers where it's like, we're announcing this game this year and it's not going to be released until 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 years down the line? What's the point? Show me what the fuck is gonna happen in the next year. I don't care about shit after that. Just show me what's gonna happen in the next year. Good lord, it's irritating. Oh, Capcom's is today. Could you imagine? There's no way. There's no way. You think Street Fighter 6? You think? There's no way. Street Fighter 6? Nah. Vampire Savior 3? That's dead in the water. Oh, that's another thing. Let's bitch about Virtua Fighters. I didn't actually do it in the video. I hate them. I genuinely hate them for being like, we're using this to gauge interest on a new Virtua Fighter. It's the same bullshit they pulled with the Capcom pulled with the Darkstalkers Resurrection. I mean, at the very least, I can hope, I can cross my fucking fingers. I highly doubt it, because I feel like everybody that's involved in the making of fighting games is an absolute fucking asshole and can't actually learn a good lesson from anything that's being released. But if there's one thing that I hope other companies take away from this, is that you don't fucking need to have a game that's a game series that's only sold, you know, like 5 million plus copies for every single one of its releases to have a successful release. To be fair, this is like the perfect time for Guilty Gear Strive, right? Like, this could not have released at a more perfect time. Everybody's kind of been sitting on the edge of their seat waiting for a new big fighting game for a long time. And so along comes Guilty Gear Strive to fill that void. We already have that. We also have all the people that are massively dissatisfied with the online experience of their games. Like, legitimately every single community has bad things to say about their online, except for, let's be real, fairly small communities such as Skullgirls, Plus R, the people that are rocking Fightcade, stuff like that. But like Street Fighter, Tekken, any other previous Arc System Works games not called Guilty Gear Strive? I guess Plus R you can add to that as well. But yeah, like, just everybody is like, the netcode sucks and all we can do is play online. Give me something that's actually good. Well, here it is. It got released in the perfect conditions for success, and it is reaping the rewards for that. But I really genuinely hope that they look at that and go like, okay, I mean, as long as we just craft a game that looks good and that plays good, that's good enough, right? So maybe there's hope for, you know, the people that want Power Stone. Maybe there's hope for the people that want Vampire Savior to come back. Maybe there's hope for Marvel vs. Capcom to make a return. I can't. Why? How the hell? Let's just transition off of that. How did Square Enix get allowed to make another game? I have not looked at it. All that I saw is just a bunch of like YouTube videos. I didn't watch them, but just, you know, seeing the titles of them, seeing the announcements for them, and stories on gaming sites about how Square Enix has announced that they're making a Guardians of the Galaxy game. How in the ever-loving fuck did anybody look at Square Enix's handling of the Avengers and go, yep, we should definitely let them make another game? How did that happen? The Avengers has like one of the biggest gaming failures. I would certainly argue an even bigger failure than Cyberpunk when it got released. Like, the Avengers is just pure, utter trash. The gameplay is trash. The production values are trash. The story is trash. Everything about the fucking game is trash. And somebody at Marvel went, hell yeah, make another one. Use Guardians of the Galaxy this time. Bruh? It's baffling. It's baffling. I don't get it. I just cannot understand it. Oh, I don't get video games, man. I just don't. Maybe I'm just a boomer. Maybe that's all there is to it. I'm out of touch. What was the other thing that I did? Oh, I wanted to bitch about graduating. This should be a success, especially for me, given how long it took. I mean, you know, there's some good reasons for how long it took me. There's some bad reasons for how long it took me. But regardless, I graduated right into the perfect environment to try to get a job. Like, it's just kind of funny that the reason why I went back to... So I didn't actually go to college straight out of high school. I did some traveling first, and then I got a good job afterwards. You know, like a full-time, decent-paying job with some pretty good growth potential for getting a bigger paycheck, for getting a better version of that job, blah, 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 whatever. And then the market crash in 2008, 2009-ish occurred and just shut down everything. All of my opportunities gone, everything's just gone. So I was like, well, fuck. What do I do now? So that's why I went back to school. And now I'm finally out of school. And it's in the middle of this garbage. It's all obviously just to fuck me over, right? It's personal. Everything that happens, everything bad that occurs in this universe, it's personal. It's definitely it. That's it. That's all I got. How long? 25 minutes. You know, it's long enough. That's enough negativity for the day. Oh, let's not. Nah, let's not. Should I? Let's not. I was gonna bitch about Gacha, but I feel like anybody, like, the only reason, so, like, one of the reasons why I haven't been able to get into some of the bigger Gacha games, such as Genshin Impact, right? Like, Genshin Impact is the Gacha game right now. Has been for a while. But there's no auto battle. Like, that's the only reason why I play games like Epic 7 or Arknights, is because it requires, like, aside from special events, it requires, like, maybe 15 minutes of my attention per day. And the rest of it is just auto-battling stuff, where I'm gathering resources, I'm getting stronger characters, you know, whatever, right? It's all basically preparation for the next big thing. I don't have to be sitting there with all of my focus on it and playing it myself the entire day. If that were the case, I would not play these games. They're not good enough, they're not interesting enough to compare to other gaming options. So that's one of the reasons why I don't play Genshin Impact. But I'm about to just quit altogether, man. Like, Arknights is fine, but the problem is that, like... So Arknights had that recent event that I posted the video of. It's called Contingency Contracts. They'll have, you know, events like that that'll last, you know, like a week or two. Somewhere around there. And then they'll just have a month of downtime. Where there's nothing special going on. There's no events. There's no new story stuff released. And it's just like... There's no reason, really, to log in. Except the way the game is designed essentially requires you to log in on a daily basis, or you fall massively behind. You lose out on summoning resources, you lose out on characters that you may want to build, you lose out on the ability to build characters you already have. Like, it's just... They're designed to almost force you to log in on a daily basis. But there's no reason to log in, right? Except for that, except basically hoping that the time spent right now is going to pay off later down the line. And lately in Epic 7, oh boy, because I know I just spent a little bit bitching about Arknights, but I actually don't really have a problem with Arknights. That game's fine for me right now. But Epic 7 is... I don't know why I'm still playing this game. I genuinely don't. Like, I've bitched about it before, and anytime anybody brings up Epic 7, I will bitch about it again. The gear system in this game is the most atrociously designed RNG trap I've ever seen in any game ever. It is the worst designed gear system. Like, I've played a lot of gacha games, right? They're all free to play, so why not just try them out, see if I enjoy them? Epic 7, out of all the games that I've tried, has the worst, most predatory gear system I have ever seen. It is so fucking difficult to get good gear. Just good gear. Not even like, oh, this is end level, like, top 100 on the PvP leaderboard level of gear. No, I'm talking about, like, this is middle of the road. That's not bad gear. Like, let me throw this on a character that's not... Let me throw this on a mid-tier character, right? It's not top-tier character gear. But it's gear that you can throw on a character that you like, that you may use in some side content that nobody really cares about. It's that kind of gear. Even that's hard to get. And you think that if that gear is hard to get, how fucking hard do you think it is to get that high-end, top-tier, end-game style of gear? I just spent... like once a month-ish, around there, they'll have special events over the weekend. And for 2 days, you will get an additional, like, 50% gold drops. So you get a ton more gold. And you also get an additional, I think it's 30% of forging resources, because you can craft gear. So you get around an additional 30% crafting resources to use. I spent the equivalent of 2 full weekends of that trying to craft gear. And I got nothing. Nothing. Basically the equivalent, if you take it in normal terms, essentially the equivalent of, like, 2 months worth of normal grinding, and I got nothing. How badly designed is your game that, again, I didn't even get the mid-tier style of gear. I didn't even get that. It's just, I don't know why I still play this game, because the gear system is so shit. Like, let me just, hang on. Oh no, I can't do that right now. But yeah, I don't know why I still play this. And I'm just gonna, because honestly, I mean, this kind of stuff, when you kind of just air your grievances about something, is like the road to quitting. It is the road to the realization that, like, why am I still playing this? Why am I still doing this? It's just so utterly pointless. Okay, now I'm done. Thank you for listening to all of my negativity. Hope it made your day better. Peace.